those things. So let me just limit myself to primary school, the one I'm very much conversant with. All right? Now, at the primary school level, even has limited role to play at that particular stage. However, parents still have a role to play at that stage. What's the role? As a parent, what you are supposed to do is to begin to assess, to begin to look at the progress of your ward, your child, your daughter in school. In terms of what? In terms of one, what are the personal traits? What are the personal characteristics of your child, your daughter? All right? You see, the strong one is, you look at his personal traits, his behaviors. Number two, you look at his value systems. What are those things he cherishes? You need to also look at his interests. Look at his interests. You need to know what and what is he interested in, and what are those things he's not interested in. And then you also look at his areas of strengths and weaknesses. At that stage, these are the kind of things you are supposed to be looking at the primary school level. And so when he passes primary school level to the secondary school, in our own days, we didn't actually have junior secondary, senior secondary. That was not the arrangement during our own time. So I will continue to use my own experience. Then you can relate or extend my experience to our own experiences. In our own time, what usually happens is that when you get to secondary school, you go into Form 1. These were the things. So you go into Form 1, not JS1. You go into Form 1. At Form 1, you actually take general subjects. General subjects, all kinds of subjects, different areas, different combinations. You do that Form 1, you do that Form 2, you do that Form 3. And perhaps that is what you may call JS, Junior Secondary School Education, isn't it? That is exactly what happens. You take general courses. At a point in time, what usually happens is that teachers will actually be assessing your performance in the different areas. Science, arts, technology, commercial, different areas. You will be assessed because it's going to be general areas. And therefore, when you are going to Form 4, that time we used to call it semi-final year. Semi-final. At that particular point in time, you will be expected as a student at a point in time to make a choice to yourself. Do you want to go into arts, commercial, science, technology, different areas? It's at the level when you are moving to Form 4, that is when you make a choice as a student. You will be given the opportunity. Now, at a point in time, this changed, and the teachers felt that it was better and more appropriate for them to look at your performance in the different areas and then make a choice for you. And it appears they actually got it wrong, because if you look at the principles or guidelines of career planning and development, you will be told that please, as much as possible, leave a student to make his own choice. And so the original or the former arrangement was actually better. But at a point, they will look at your performance. If you are good in science, you will just find yourself in the sciences. If you are better in the arts, they will take you to arts. If you are good in commercial, they will take you to commercial. And so they assess your area of strength, and then they take you there. And unfortunately, some of us happen to be forced to choose an area by our tutors. In other words, we are not actually given that privilege to say, please, which area do you want to go for? They looked at our performance, our previous performance, and then, personally, as a person, I must tell you, the assessment was that I was more appropriate to be in the science class. So they chose the science area for me. Unfortunately for me, I'm just telling you so that we learn from experience. Unfortunately for me, when I got there, I actually liked the science, but I had problem with one area in the sciences, and the area I had problem with was physics. Physics was actually my problem. In fact, we got to a particular topic, mirror and images. I'm sure I can still remember vividly. Mirrors and images. And we started some calculations of concave, convex. For the entire week or 2 weeks, the lecturer or the master there, we used to call them masters, physics master at that time, was a Ghanaian. And he had a strategy. After teaching you a particular area, he will now give you an assignment. Do it immediately, and then he will go around and mark. Each time the person gives us an assignment, I will score 0. I will fail throughout. So I became frustrated. I just decided that science was not really for me. Physics actually drove me from sciences. So I salute the courage of those of you that are in sciences, and I want to encourage my kids to actually go into sciences, but I couldn't. So, unfortunately for us, we didn't have people that will actually mentor us the way we should be mentored. Because this process, as I'm telling you, involves a principle in guidance and counseling that they call the principle of youth mentoring and tracking. Youth mentoring and tracking. And so the parents are supposed to start that. You have to be mentoring and tracking the behavior and the academic career of your kids. The parents are actually expected to do that. And then at primary school level up to junior secondary school. And then the time you're going to the senior secondary school at this time, you have a choice to make as a student. And then you will also be assisted by the teachers. In some schools, they may have guidance and counseling units. But unfortunately for us, our guidance and counseling units have never been functional. They don't really work. And so the teachers actually do the job. And so when I found myself really incapacitated, I couldn't continue with the sciences, I wanted to go for science without physics. They said there was no way for me. So I was forced actually to go into pure arts. And I came into town with pure arts. One other problem I had was a problem with mathematics. I just came to hate mathematics. In fact, the extent of hatred for mathematics was such that the mathematics master will force us to remain in the class because he will take attendance one by one. And so what we were doing was, some of us will just stay very close to the window. Once he marks attendance and he's busy solving his indices, 1, 2, 3, we're off. We'll just dodge and we'll disappear. This is the issue of career planning and development. You come to actually realize a lot of things from this experience I'm giving you. So I made up my mind, since I found myself in the arts discipline, I made up my mind. I said, which area would I actually want to go into? I made up my mind from the word go, that the area I will go into will be law. I made up my mind I was going to read law. And so I worked assiduously, very seriously for law, to get the requirements for law. As Allah will have it, I couldn't actually get the requirements to read law, and I cried because of that. But I came to realize that it was not destined for me to actually read law. And this is why I raised the question. Is this career planning and development, it is actually an art or a science? If we say it is an art, the implication is that you are actually born with your own destiny. You are born with your own destiny. In other words, it is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined for you that you will actually be, and therefore, perhaps there will be no need for anybody to mentor and track performance and make any choice and guide you. So which of these two positions is better? Do you leave everything to destiny, or you should systematize the process, look at the assessment, look at the strengths, look at these processes, and at the end of a particular time be able to guide the students, say, please go for this is better for you. Which is better from these two theories? Is food for thought. Let's think about that. But my thinking, my submission is that the two of them are required. You need destiny, because destiny will eventually prevail. But use the process. You use the process. And this is exactly the interpretation of the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. That's the exact meaning of it. That you make your own efforts, exact efforts, but eventually leave the choice to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore destiny will eventually prevail. But make an effort. This is my position, and I have supported that with the verse of the Holy Quran. I hope my interpretation is not inappropriate. And so, I am of the opinion that career planning and development, I'm just giving you the answer, that is it an art or a science? I'm saying it's a combination of art and science. This is my submission from the word go. And therefore, when I realized that it was not possible for me to actually go into the study of law, destiny prevailed on me. And my uncle had to make a choice for me. He said, please, I have just discovered that there is a particular area of study, and his own thinking is this, that if you go into this area, it is an area that has what you may call in a career planning employability, high employability rating. I don't know whether I'm communicating. High employability rating, because accountants at that time were in short supply, and that was actually what happened. Because I went in for diploma. After the diploma, immediately I got a job. Immediately I left the Polytechnic with a diploma, I got a job. So accountants were in short supply, and so he made a choice for me on the basis of that. So I never planned to actually go into accounting. Today, I never knew that I would rise to the pinnacle of my academic career in accounting. I never dreamt. I didn't even dream that one day I will be in the accounting profession. Today, I am a professor of accounting and a professional accountant. I have my license to practice as an accountant. Now, what are the experiences to be learned from this? One, that at the time we have found ourselves, as much as possible, career choice should be informed, one, by employability. And in this sense, employability should be redefined. You redefine employability not in terms of getting government jobs. In fact, it is even it's even better to define employability now in terms of self-employment. And therefore, if you are making a career choice, or you want to make a career choice for somebody, please ask the question, which of these areas, which of these professions will lead somebody to self-employment? So you begin to choose. If you go into law, for example, I have just discovered that most of the people that train in law will want to go into private practice. If you go into engineering, you can end up in private practice. If you go into engineering, electrical engineering, you can end up. ICT, you end up. And so when you are thinking of a career choice, one should preoccupy your thinking should be employability. And we redefine employment, not just getting government job. Why? Because the government jobs are no longer there for us. So think first of self-employment. If it's not going to lead you to self-employment, then you have a second choice to make. And the second choice to make is that as a parent, for example, you must try and get something that is vocational for your child to do from the onset. I just had a practical experience, not personal experience. Somebody that I invited to come and do some wiring work in my house. Eventually I saw him in the university. And he came to introduce himself that I'm in the university, and I asked him, in the university, are you reading engineering? I know we don't have the university I am, National State University. I know we don't have engineering. So which engineering course, which course are you reading? He said, I'm reading sociology. He said he was reading sociology. I said, you are right. You have no problem actually reading sociology, because after reading sociology, if you graduate and you cannot get a job, you can continue to practice as an electrician. Yes. The situation of our time is so bad that some of you must have learned or must have read in newspapers, how true it is, I don't know, that there was scramble, there was struggle by people, including people with PhD, to get a job in Dangote company. What kind of job? Driving job, to drive trucks. Truck driver, PhD were competing. I don't know whether you read that story. Now, that is the reality of our situation. PhD, struggling, scrambling, competing for truck driver, job as truck driver. Our situation is that bad. And therefore, my advice, because this is an opportunity actually to advise our brothers, is that you have either a choice of going for a career that will end up giving you self-employment, or go for vacation. And parents have a serious role to play in this respect. That you train a child to go for, let him be an electrician, a tailor, several aspects at a very low level, at a time when he's not grown up. That is the time you give him that orientation to go into a vocation, so that by the time he goes to university, he has already learned a vocation. He is either an electrician, a tailor, several of them. I have somebody who said, in fact, the clothes I wear and came to this IBC was sewn by a former student of mine. He graduated several years ago from accounting. I think accounting of business. He couldn't get a government job. So he is doing his tailoring work. And he came and said, please, I said, I have something for you to sew for. He said, I was your student. I said, please, with all joy, go and do that for me. He wants to now proceed for his master's. He wants to do PhD because there's no job. With the tailoring, he's married. He's doing a lot of things for himself. So these are, I'm sure my brother will also add, Dr. Ishek. The kind of training we are given, especially in the universities now, is not actually in tune with the reality of our time. What's that concept? The concept of entrepreneurship that they have introduced. NUC has introduced what they call the concept of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means you encourage people to be innovative and you show them the different trades and vocations they can go into. In my university, they have opened a place where they can wash cars now. They're training people, university students, business of washing car wash. They are doing that, several trades, several vocations. Perhaps it will work, perhaps it will assist, but a lot will actually depend on the efforts made by the parents in giving their kids, their wards, their children, their daughters, training in terms of trade, vocation at an early stage of their life. Is very important. Parents, let's please do a lot in this particular respect. And therefore, essentially what I'm trying to say is that you will require mentoring and tracking by your parents at different stages in your academic career. And then, when it is time for you to actually think of a job, if you are thinking of a job outside self-employment job, then you require some other skills. Number one, you will need, according to planning, career planning and development experts, you will require internship. I don't know whether we know what we call internship. Internship means you will require some kind of closeness, go close to the job you want to do eventually. Internship may take the form of what you call industrial training, isn't it? That kind of thing. Or what do you call it? What's the other name? After 2 years after graduating from Polytechnic, you go for what? Attachment. Attachment is a form of internship. In other words, you go closer to the job you want to do so that you become conversant, you know the job, you get the skills. This is important for somebody that is thinking of government job. We must give ourselves the formula. Number two, you also require what they call skill in communication. You require a skill in communication. You require managerial or leadership skills. You require a lot of skills in terms of interpersonal relationships, interpersonal skills, communication skills, leadership or managerial skills. All this you require. And you know what experts in education say you should do to be able to get these kind of skills. They say you should go closer to what they call extracurricular activities. Do a lot of extracurricular activities. And you know what? Going into a lot of activities like these MSS activities is one of the things they define as extracurricular activity. Attaching yourself and do a lot of things in MSS, inshallah, will give you all the skills I've just mentioned. Inshallah. That's the beauty of it. Some of us acquired a lot of skills, communication skills through MSS. Some of us acquired leadership skills through MSS, interpersonal skills through MSS. And so if you want to be well-grounded in interpersonal skills, you need MSS. MSS will assist you in that respect. So you need that. And finally, because I need to give Doc also opportunity to say one or two things so that I don't exhaust the time. You need also to know how to prepare your resume. How many of us know how to prepare what we call resume? Do we know resume? All right. Curriculum vitae. You know that, CV. Another name for curriculum vitae is resume. So how many of us actually know how to prepare resume? Now, job experts will tell you that there are ways we prepare our resume or CV that makes it easy for us to actually get jobs. So you need to know how to prepare a CV that will attract employers to you, because you need to make yourself attractive to employers. So if you're not actually attractive to employers, you will not get a job. How do you make yourself attractive to employers? Part of it is knowing how to prepare a CV. Unfortunately, we really don't have the time. But I tell you, for those of you that have access to internet, if you just go to internet and Google how to prepare a CV, you will see a lot of things. Different kinds of CVs for different kinds of situations, depending on the job you want. How to prepare different kinds of CVs. They are available. They are more than enough for you in the net. Please, as much as possible, let's try to download this information. For every job you want to apply, download how to prepare a resume for it. And you know what? You need to also know how to attend interviews or interactions. They call it interactions. If you are attending an interview, or what we call interaction, do you know the skills involved in interviews? Skills involved in interviews. That was why I said these are things you can acquire, and so it's a science to some extent. This information are also very much available to you on the net. I hope some of you are writing. Just say how to write a CV, and you see so many things. The interview skills. Just Google. Just go to Google and say interview skills, or how to acquire interview skills. You'll be surprised the volume of information you'll get, guiding you on how to attend interviews. If you are thinking of a government job, or you are thinking of a job in the private sector or any other sector, you don't want to be self-employed. You don't want to be an employee of labor yourself. You want to be an employee. You have a lot to do in that respect. So you require skills on how to attend an interview, and then, as much as possible, I must actually tell us that you need some kind of what they call networking. Networking is very important. In fact, some advanced nations have gone very far. You have a networking group for the unemployed youth. They form a network and they continue to exchange information. I don't know whether we have such network in this country. For those of us that are still in the labor market, I don't know whether we have some of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide jobs for us. Now, you require networking. Networking assists. All these things I'm telling you are things I read. Advice, guidelines provided by experts in guidance and counseling, that you require networking. So you go into network. If you go into networking, I know there are websites dedicated to job search. That is what they call those job search. And all you need to do is to subscribe to those websites. They will give you an update information all the time on the jobs that are available, depending on your expertise, your area of specialization. They tell you at both local and international levels. They tell you these jobs are available in Nigeria, in social places, in social areas. These jobs are available in Africa. These jobs are available in West Africa. These jobs are available in UK, in US. They have information and they continue to update information for people seeking jobs. These websites are also very much available. So by way of summary, all that I've succeeded actually in saying is that, number one, that parents have a very serious role to play in career planning, career choice, and career development. Number two, I've also succeeded in saying that the student himself has a role to play. And if he's making a choice, let him make an informed choice based on his interests. If you have a flair for an area, you will do better. If you don't have interest in a particular area and you are forced to go into that particular area, you will not do well. And therefore, let's be very careful as parents when we want to guide our wards, our kids, our children in making career choice. Leave the choice to the kid. You can guide him. You are good in sciences. I think you will be a good medical doctor. I think you will be a good engineer. I think you will be a good IT expert. Now, allow him to choose for himself where he wants to go. In fact, even making a choice between an art, science, commercial, leave your child to do that. Don't force. You can guide, but don't force. It's a catastrophic approach to career planning and development if a child is forced to go into an area that he doesn't like. So leave that choice to the student at a point in time, guide him and let him make that choice. School too has a role to play. Unfortunately, we don't have very serious and functional guidance and counseling units. But where you have that, students are advised to actually utilize those opportunities provided by guidance and counseling unit to get advice on the best career choice they can make. And finally, in terms of job search, I've also given us some hints, some clues. By way of summary, I said, one, you require interpersonal skills. You need internship. You need managerial skills. You also require interpersonal communication, leadership skills. All these are required. And finally, you require a lot of networking. You need to form yourselves into groups, even if that does not exist, as brothers, MSS brothers. And that is why this interpersonal relationship is very important at the school level. Establish that relationship so that when you are out, your brother can assist you. A lot of things like this have happened. Your brother may be somewhere, he may have information about jobs available. Brother, this, I know you have a certificate in IT. I know you have a certificate in sociology. They need somebody with BSc sociology. Can you send your CV to me? We have been doing that as in MSS. And MSS at a point has been gathering this. I know during Manilawal's time, we'll collect CVs and information about MSS brothers that have graduated, waiting for opportunities so that we send CVs. I hope actually the zone will continue to do that so that we can help our brothers secure a job. But self-employment is better than an employed job. Because if you are self-employed, you become an employer of labor rather than an employee. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us. Inshallah, I will give Dr. Ishaq opportunity to add and fill the vacuum I've also left in this discussion. I hope you would pardon us. Specifically, I'm not an expert in education. I've used personal experience to actually discuss this topic with you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers in Islam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity. Our brother has spoken at length on career choice, career planning and development. My bit is to add on certain areas which I think will add value to our personal development. The choice about a career fundamentally of reason is about interest. So at early stage, apart from the influences of parents, of our teachers, we need to develop interest on specific areas that we intend to pursue as a career. Most of the time, we know our potentials. We know our limitations. We know what we are good in. So, to a greater extent, we should be in a position to decide on a career than somebody imposing a career on us. There are instances where parents have imposed careers on their wards and it has backfired. I know of a medical student reading medicine, but unfortunately, because he's not interested, he always keeps complaining that the choice of medicine was actually imposed on me by my parents. And for this, he has not been serious, and at the end, he ended up in the Faculty of Social and Management Sciences. We should understand as Muslims that all areas of human endeavor are important. We need medical doctors. We need linguists. We need educationists. We need sociologists. We need mathematicians. We need physicists. We need chemists. We need economists. We need accountants. In fact, we need all fields that are of relevant to the Muslim community. All of us cannot be medical doctors. It is not possible. If all of us become medical doctors, who will manage the economy? Are doctors good managers? What is happening to our hospitals?
Fundamentally, the choice of a career is very important. So we should be concerned of these choices at this material time, because it will have an important role to play in our lives in the future. Like Mala has said, some of us were not opportune to have the privilege of having the proper career guidance and counseling at our time. I still remember that I did sciences. Just like he said, I did science without physics. So it's a coincidence. I did chemistry, biology, agric, technical drawing, economics, maths, English, and Islamic studies. It's only physics that I have not done, and I have credit in all the sciences except because I didn't sit for physics. I was actually misinformed in the sense that I was told that pharmacy doesn't require physics. So my intention is to be a pharmacist. So I ended up doing maths, English, chemistry, physics, chemistry, biology, and agric. But as Allah will have it, I ended up being an economist. So this is the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, for some of us that are now in JSS 3, for example, I think it is at that stage that we have to make a critical evaluation of our position. What do we intend to become in the future with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is not late. We have seen people that did finished the secondary school and went back and changed the career path completely. But at this critical juncture, what is our interest? What should be our contribution to the Islamic Ummah, to the community? What are the needs of the Ummah? What vacuums do we intend to fill? We've seen the challenges in the Muslim Ummah. Go to our hospitals, Muslim doctors, Muslim sisters that are doctors, how many are they? How many Muslim gynecologists do we have? How many Muslim radiologists do we have? How many Muslim pharmacists do we have? Who take care of our families, our Muslim sisters in the hospitals? Who attend to them in their critical moments? Is it the Muslims? Is it non-Muslims? Is it those from the opposite gender? So these are critical evaluations we need to ask ourselves. For those of us that are good in the sciences, we should not be novices. We should not be lazy. That you find Muslims thinking that some of these courses are very difficult to study. What makes it difficult? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the brain as Muslims. We have Muslims, it is only Muslims that you can find committing the whole of a book like the Quran into memory. You can never find a Christian that have committed the Bible into memory. So if the Muslims can commit the whole of the Holy Quran by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will stop us as Muslims from studying these so-called difficult courses? So it is a challenge for us as Muslims. Now, for those of us, like I said, not all of us can be doctors. Not all of us can be medical doctors or in the medical profession. Some must go to the social sciences. How many Muslim accountants, professional accountants do we have? Chartered accountants. How many do we have? How many Muslim chartered firms do we have, for example, in the north? How many professors of French do we have in the north? How many professors of nuclear energy do we have as Muslims from the north? And a host of others. So it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. So we have to work up. And it is at this critical stage of our lives that you can take these critical and fundamental decisions. There are times that it will be late because you have the opportunity now. You have the opportunity now. Like I said, I ended up being an economist. What is my role as a Muslim? What is the role of an economist? Who manages resources? Who combines the different factors of production? What do we need, for example, to qualify as an economist? What courses do we need to emphasize at the secondary school level so that we can be competent Muslim economists? Like most of the social sciences, we should be very good in mathematics. So the issue of jumping through the window should not be for the Muslims. You have the opportunity for you to be good in the social sciences. You should not see mathematics as an enemy. We should be good in commerce, in English, in government, in economics, and other courses, so that at the end of the day, we will be in the university, we will be qualified to study economics. There are a lot of opportunities for anybody that studies economics. There is no establishment in the world today where the services of an economist is not required. As an economist, you can operate, you can serve in the private sector, in production, in distribution, in transportation. So as an economist, you have that opportunity. So in business, all major aspects of business, the multinational corporations, the oil companies, manufacturing concerns, all requires the services of an economist. Because production takes place, consumption must take place, distribution must take place. There must be budgeting. So economics are required in the business world. In government, the range of jobs for economics in government is as broad as government itself. Economics in government agencies serve in the fields of agriculture, business, finance, labor relations, transportation, utilities, urban economics, international trade and finance, Department of Commerce, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, and a host of others that you can think of in all aspects of government. So you have the opportunity. The sky is the limit, as they say. Moreover, in education, there are equally opportunities for an economist. You can be a teacher, even though people don't like to teach. Isn't it? You can teach. You can work in research institutions and a host of others. In international organizations, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Islamic Development Bank, International Labour Organization, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and a host of others. All these international organizations requires the services of an economist. So brothers, the opportunity is there. But we have to be courageous enough to take the bull by the horn. It is really disheartening to see. If you go to most of our new universities that are established in the north, unfortunately, you will find out that non-Muslims coming from the other part of the country are coming to dominate the universities. Because how many of our brothers have masters? How many of our brothers have PhDs? In the universities, the minimum qualification that is required for one to teach is a PhD. As a result of this, you find those non-Muslims coming to dominate. And when it comes to admission, who do they admit? Because they are in control of the academic institutions. Who do they admit? they admit the non-Muslims in high numbers, and you find our people writing petitions and complaining. Only writing petitions and complaining. But it comes to real action. Where are the Muslims? When people are talking about unemployment, with your masters in economics, you will be given an opportunity to teach in the university. With a career in economics, you can develop the required entrepreneurial skill to set up businesses, to run effective businesses. So, brothers in Islam, it is very important that we use this opportunity. I am saying this because some of us, this is the critical moments in our lives. If you don't use this opportunity, there will be no more opportunity in the future. So let's effectively use the time at our disposal in order to make good choices that will better the condition of the Muslim and the Muslim Ummah. I urge you to please take this home. We should think what should be our role in revitalizing the Ummah. We should use this opportunity as Muslims to effectively make choices that will have a fundamental effect on the operations of the Ummah in the future. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar. Inshallah. Just one thing I would actually want to chip in before we go to questions and answers. Perhaps what I will say may address some of the questions we have. We need to know that for those of us at the secondary school level that are thinking of going to universities, there are two things you need to remember, especially if you are writing your WAEC or NECO, or is it NAPTEP now, including, I'm coming to JAM. The first is the combinations that are required for any particular course you want to actually read in the university. Please check to ensure that you have the right combination. In WAEC, in NECO, that level. So also, we just came to realize that universities now, because of the number of candidates applying to universities now emphasize on combination at JAM level. Yes. Universities now emphasize combination at JAM level. So you can write your JAM and get 300 and still not be able to secure admission into university. In fact, there are universities now that will tell you, even if you are able to get the admission by sheer coincidence or by mistake, if they are screening you, because you will have to pass through screening again, they will check the combinations, the subjects you wrote at JAM level. If they are not the required subjects, you will not be screened, and you will have to go and still rewrite your JAM. Yes, this is the position now. So for those of you in the secondary schools, please take note of this. For any university, any course, check the subject combinations at JAM level, at WAEC NECO level. Otherwise, you run into problem. So also, you need to identify universities. If you're thinking of going to university, identify universities that will be easier for you to secure admission, because there are some universities that are more competitive than others. Some universities are more competitive than others, no doubt about that. In fact, to be very sincere with you now, let's not belabor the obvious, the reality. is that the choice of a university should be informed by your connection. This is the situation now. And if you have somebody that can assist you get a secure admission somewhere, then the correct thing to do is to inform that person even before you write your JAMB. Please, I want to apply to read social course in your university. What's your advice? Then the person will tell you, yes, if you want to read medicine, the JAMB combination, the courses you need to write in JAMB are this and this and this and this. He will guide you. It is not after you have made the choice, you have written the courses you think are the appropriate courses, and you have chosen the university, and then you have scored a particular points. That is where you now start thinking, who do I know in this person that will assist me? That is not really the appropriate time to look for people to assist. It's at the time of making a choice. You should be properly guided. Somebody should guide you. Please, which university do I choose? You also need guidance at that particular level. Please, for those of you applying to universities, you need guidance at that level. Don't just choose any university. And then it's after that you now begin to search. Who do I know who will assist me? Ask those that can guide you. Please, which university should I choose? People will tell you. I, for example, can say, if I'm consulted, I want to read medicine, I will say, please apply to some university. Even if I am not in that university, perhaps I know somebody that I can say, please go and meet this person who will assist you. We have been doing that. We have been doing that, even at MSS level. Just recently, I had to send to, in fact, just a few weeks ago, I had to send to the zonal chairman, Dr. Abdullahi, one case, admission case. It was a problem in education. I said, please, the person, somebody contacted me from somewhere, and then I contacted Dr. Abdullahi, and I told the person, please go and meet him to solve the problem for you. So this is the kind of networking we're talking about. We do that a lot at MSS level. So please, but assist us if you really want us to assist by really consulting us at the most appropriate time. That is at the time you want to make the choice. Which university? It's not that you have chosen a university and then you start running helter-skelter looking for who will assist. It's really not a correct approach. So also, you need to know that if you are hell-bent on getting a particular course, then you have one or two things to do. Number one, you will have to be patient enough and to be extremely hardworking so that you get a very high score to be able to get that particular course, especially if it is a professional course like medicine. Yes, like medicine. It's a highly competitive course that you require a score close to 300 to be able to get medicine or merit. Otherwise, you need somebody's assistance. If you have less than 300, you need somebody to assist you. Somebody to help you get that admission. So as much as possible, you need to really work hard. Otherwise, please, if you are given a course different from that, just take it. It means you have planned, but destiny has what? Destiny has done what? Has taken an overriding effect on you. Destiny has worked now. It means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not destined that you read medicine. Then you go, I didn't even know, he never planned to read the economics. He just told us now. And that is what you find if you pick so many of us here and there. Initially, we were planning to read different things, but Allah's decision actually counted eventually on us. Destiny counted on us, and we have to go with destiny. And we are where we are now today. So please don't insist most of the time that if it is not this, I will not read any other thing. Allow destiny sometimes to work. Otherwise, if you insist, then you will abandon study and you will be a secondary school dropout. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from finding ourselves in that kind of situation. And we know the organizers are around, and now There are questions. I don't know why. Now, say Assalamu alaikum. Mala, is it true that the science students do not offer Islamic studies when coming to issues of writing WAEC and NECO examination? Sincerely, I am not too conversant with the issue of Islamic study. I know Islamic study has become a matter that is a little bit controversial, but I think it's at the junior level. At WAEC level, I think they allow people to go for Islamic studies. And our own time, we used to call it Islamic Religious Knowledge. IRK, that was what we used to call it. But today it's IRS, isn't it? They changed the knowledge to studies now. I'm sure it was IRK we did. So you need the IRS so that you can boost the number of credits you have. If instead of getting 7 credits with IRS, inshallah we'll make it 8 or 9 credits. And that will enhance your chances of getting admission. And I don't think there's any course that will completely discount Islamic studies. In other words, they will say if you have 8 credits including Islamic studies, they will say no. It means you already have 7 credits. I don't know of any university in this country that will do that. I don't know whether I'm making a point. If you have 8 credits including Islamic studies, you have 8 credits. Nobody will say minus Islamic studies, and therefore it is 7 credits you have. It doesn't work like that. I'm not aware. Wallahu alam. Maybe. Wa alaikum assalam.
Yes, that is very much true.
Oh.
We don't know, maybe it is one of the new curriculum that is coming up now to take over our secondary schools.
Yes.
Like I can give an example with the federal capital now. Those that are in final year, not only in final year, those that are in SS1 now, and they are choosing sciences as their career. Islamic studies or Christian religious knowledge is removed from the courses.
Talk.
And it is replaced now with
Civil.
That's what they're using to replace it.
That was what we said. You needed experts.
Something that if the necessary, because we believe one cannot be successful in whatever career they're choosing without God. Even the previous scientists, they confirmed that.
Now.
That you can never be successful without knowing your God. But today, in Nigeria, they are moving down. Except those that are going for art, now still carry religious studies along. We don't even know the picture. Our teachers that are teaching religious studies.
Yeah, they will disengage them. Yeah.
That's what Nigeria is working for.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes we don't know.
Jazakumullahu khairan. I think the MSS officials are here, and coincidentally, the second presenter is the chairman of Publicity and Communique Committee. So I'm sure it must be something that, and I know that we have captured this issue several times in our communique. I think we also need to capture it again this time around. Yes, I think it's an issue. Now, okay, this one. Now, Assalamu alaikum, Prof. What of the student that told his teacher that he's going to read law, and his teacher told him not to go for law? He should rather go for sociology. Is there anything wrong with this advice? I wouldn't actually pick fault on the advice because I don't know the basis of the advice. He may be right, he may be wrong. Because for a teacher to say don't go for law is because perhaps he knows that you don't have the capacity to read law. Maybe. So maybe he has assessed your capacity and he knows that you don't have the intellectual capacity to go for law. And so he may say, go for, sorry, I don't know if there are sociologists here. The thinking usually in the university is that if you want a course that easily you can just graduate without serious problem. Sorry. So most of us, the thinking is that if you want to go into a course in the university that you don't have serious problems, academic challenges, then sociology is the area for you to go. But he said it's not in all universities. Yeah. So maybe it's because he knows you don't have the intellectual capacity to go for law, because law is a professional course, very competitive in terms of admission too. You need to know them. Law, medicine, engineering, pharmacy, these professional courses, very, very competitive. Very, very competitive. Why you need to know this is because you need high JAM score to begin to actually struggle for these courses, especially if you want to struggle on merit to get admission. On merit, your JAM score must be very high. You cannot be thinking of 180, which is the minimum, at all. You have to be thinking of something around 300 or 250, within the range of 250, 300. On merit, you can go in. Or you may go in, let me use the word. You may go in. 250, 300. You may go in. So I really don't know. So you are the one to actually assess your capacity, your intellectual capacity. Do you really have the capacity to read law? If you are sure you have the capacity to read law, and you can get the requirements for law, why not? You go for your law, inshallah, if that is your interest and you have the capacity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you.
Assalamu alaikum. This one is between political science and sociology. Which one is the most important, and what are the subjects required? Now, like I said during my presentation, all courses are important. All courses are important. But it depends on your interest and your ability. So we should be prepared. I'll give an instance. There was a time the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Company. It's one of the companies that pays very well in this country. They were looking for a librarian, somebody that reads
Library science.
with a master's. We scanned through, we couldn't get
A brother.
a brother that has master's in library science. And there are instances, embassies were looking for brothers that read Arabic as translators. And they need good materials.
Arabic English.
Because for you want to effectively translate, let's say from Arabic to English, your mastery of English should be superb, should be superior. So all courses are important. It depends on how you groom, how you are prepared. Look at a course like Hausa. Somebody might think that Hausa is not important. But Hausa is a very important course for one to study and specialize in. Look at, if you listen to television or to the radio, the kind of translation, Hausa translations nowadays by our broadcasters is terrible. Look at some of the Hausa newspapers that we have. If we don't have good Muslims that study Hausa, who will be working in this Armenia and what's the other one? And a host of others. Who are the ones that are writing the Hausa novels, the love novels? What is the quality of those novels? So if our good Muslims study and become specialists in Hausa, wouldn't you think that the quality of what is being chunked out will be better than what we read today? So all courses are important. It all depends on how you're prepared and how it's been packaged. So for me, political science is important. Sociology is equally important. Criminology, for example, is important so that the kind of police that we produce and the kind of the quality of our prison reform or of the prisons serving as reforms institutions all depends on the quality of sociologists and criminologists that are trained and produced in our educational institutions. So all these courses are important. All the courses are important
So as Muslims, we gather near mu so that we read these courses with the intention of helping Muslims and the Ummah and helping our brothers and sisters and our families. Please, I want you to give more enlightenment on our Muslim brothers that used to discourage our fellow brothers in schools. If someone is serious with his studies, they said that the person is taking Western education as a religion. I'm sure a lot has been said about education, our responsibilities as Muslims during this IBC. It is an irony. It is a disservice to Islam to consider education as Western education and preferring it above Islamic education. Our community, our Ummah requires the services of each and every profession. So it is important that we go to school and study medicine, study engineering, study the social sciences and the humanities. I gave an example, and special education. A brother is doing a good job here. We have our brothers with us that have challenges when it comes to, is it hearing challenge? And he's doing a good job. So they are productive members of the society. Now, they've gone to school or they are now in schools. Think of a situation if they are not in the school system. Where will they be? They will be begging, isn't it? But they are now part and parcel of the process of Islamic revivalism. They are here with us. He's doing a special job. So special education is another area that is very important. How many Muslim special education, special schools do we have? They are limited. When our children have one disability or the other, what do? You send them to Karatung Bara. A child of 6, 7, if you hear him doing Bara, as if he's a parrot, because he has been trained for that. So it's really a challenge. So Muslims are required in all fields of human endeavor. It is disheartening the kind of treatment our Muslim sisters go through in some of our hospitals when they are in labor. You are not there, you might not know, but their experiences are very horrible. You have a situation, somebody at the point of death, a Muslim is being attended to by a non-Muslim. Rather than a Muslim being at the bedside, to be pronouncing the kalima, the nurse will be saying in the name of Jesus. These are practical challenges. Those that call Boko Haram, we have it in records that when their families are sick, where do they go? They go to the hospital. Who is taking care of them? Then Boko is the one that is treating them. So it's a contradiction. And we should not live a life of contradiction. So we should start with ourselves and encourage others. This Boko that they are saying is Boko. Go and read the Genesis, the history of physics. What is the contribution of Muslim astronomers to science and technology? What is the contribution of Muslims to mathematics? What is the contribution of Muslims to physics and chemistry, to algebra? to law. So it's all gimmicks. Some of them have lost out and they are bitter about it and they want to make others lose as well. So it is our responsibility as Muslims of this generation to go with the challenges and meet the challenges of our generation. Wallahu alam.
Allahu Akbar. Now at the end of this presentation, can we say that we are proud of these two gentle brothers? Are we proud of them? A professor in accounting, a doctor in economics. Then, what about you and me? This is a challenge to me and you. Maybe in the next 10 years, you sitting there, this small boy, let it be our hope that in the next 10, 15 years, this boy will also be sitting in this type of bedroom with one of these titles, either a doctor or a professor. It is with that the Muslim Ummah will further ahead. I don't know. You only talked about how one could get through to the university. But there is this challenge among Muslim brothers and sisters in the university that when you go to almost all the departments, you see those hitting first class 2-1, you see very few Muslims. This is also another challenge. Maybe in the next time when you sit, you please include this at least to ginger the Muslim brothers to at least, let's say when you get into university, your target is first class, at worst 2-1. That will earn you the opportunity to get employed. That will give you the opportunity to compete in the market, because after the study you go to labor market. We have few announcements. One, we still have your belongings with us, some little cash and some few items with us. Please come and claim it if it is yours. The umara of the following area units should move down to the secretariat now. Umara of the following area unit: Kaduna area unit, Kano area unit, Sokoto area unit, Plateau area unit, Taraba area unit, Nasarawa area unit, Zamfara area unit, Kwara, Kogi, Jigawa, and Yobe State area units. I repeat: Kaduna, Kano, Sokoto, Plateau, Taraba, Nasarawa, Zamfara, Kwara, Kogi, Jigawa, and Yobe area units. They are needed urgently now for a meeting at the Secretariat. Also, the Amir of Niger area unit is also needed now at the Secretariat. I think those of us with questions should please reserve it. We will have a session for questions and answers. It is already past 10 and we're supposed to terminate by 10. Let us deal with the situation. Subhanallah, Assalamu alaikum.